All right, Shalom, Shalom. Make sure you can hear me. Can I hear me? All right, Shalom, Shalom. All right, Shalom, Shalom. I give all praise and honor and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakal Kodash. Once a double honor to the apostles and the elders at Great Millstone for teaching His word in truth and sincerity and for ruling well. And salutations to my fellow Akim across the four corners of the globe, preaching in the name of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. It is the brother Gabar Yahweh from GMS Hawaii, coming to you with another lesson. It's a live lesson. I'm gonna make this short because we trying to get stuff together for the Passover in a few hours here. So today's lesson is entitled "What Esau Didn't / Won't Tell You in History." Okay, and this was inspired by a video, two videos that I watched by the Bishop Elder Tazayawan. Tazadakia, Bishop Elder Tazawan, and Bishop Elder Ayathan and Bishop Elder Ibad. Yesterday, they did a lesson and they were going in about, Esau, his primitive state that he was in. And so this pretty much like as a land back, but I visited this topic before, but I like visiting this topic because a lot of our people don't know a lot about the Middle Age period. Okay, a lot of our people, when you think about the Middle Ages, the first thing you think about is Edomites. You don't think of Israelites ruling. You don't, because you haven't been taught that. And a lot of these books, these schools will never teach, never about a lot of a lot of this information. They will never divulge to the average Israelite unless you look it up. Okay, so I just want to look up. The Middle Ages was 1,000-year period. All right, and that's what I want to. I'm just looking up. I'm looking it up right now, just to bring it out. It was 1,000-year period, and that 1,000-year period was spoken about in the scriptures, and chiefly in Revelation chapter 20. All right, Esau, he's the devil, the deceiver, the slanderer. He was a no people. He was a no people on the earth for 1,000-year period. All right. So, he was a no people on the earth, man. He was in a base state. All right. He was in a base state. All right. So let me see. The Middle Ages. Because it says right here. Let me show you. It says right here. It says the Middle Ages was a period in European history from the collapse of Roman civilization in the 5th century CE, the period of the Renaissance, to the period of the Renaissance, variously interpreted as the beginning of the 13th, 14th, or 15th century, depending on a region in Europe. All right. But it is Slovakia. So it don't right here. So the Byzantine Empire it's the Middle Ages as well. Why we say that? Because this is when Israelites were ruling Europe, starting off with the eastern portion of Rome, all the way into the 15th century. So it was a little over 1,000 years. When I looked this up in previous times, it said 1,000 years period, but this one says 1,123 years. The history of the Byzantine is remarkably long if we reckon the history of the Eastern Roman Empire from the dedication of Constantinople in 330 until the fall to the Ottomans 1453, in which the Ottomans were Edomite Muslims, which the bishop elders went in about them. They were just Edomites or Khazarians that followed Islam. All right, those were the Ottoman Turks. In 1453, it says the empire endured for some 1,123 years, and this was spoken about in the book of Revelation. All right, chapter 20. Matter of fact, let's go to the chapter. This is the book of Revelation, chapter 20, verse 1. And I saw an angel come down from heaven, having a key of the bottomless pit and a great chain in his hand. And he laid hold on the dragon, that old serpent, which is the devil and Satan. That dragon was Esau Edom, because he was the Roman Empire. All right. because by the time those the Edomite Romans fell out of power, you already had Jake moving in. You had Marcus Aurelius, his son Commodus. You had Nerva. You had I think Nerva was part of the five good kings or the five good emperors, something like that. Then you had Septimius Severus and his line, his sons Gata and I forget the other son. All right. So and then Jake was just ruling, and by this time Esau had been not all Edomites, but a lot of Edomites had already been pushed into the mountains. They were chased from amongst the men. Why? As a robber and a thief, because that's what he was. And he went to a base state until it was time for him to come back up. So again, I saw an angel come down from heaven, having the key of the bottomless pit and a great chain in his hand. And he laid hold on the dragon, that old serpent, which is the devil and Satan, and bound him 1,000 years. And that's where you get this 1,000 year, this 1,123 year period. Okay, because the Byzantine Empire, the word Byzantine just means backwards, and it wasn't a backwards empire. It was when our people were coming to the crest of their rulers. Starting with Constantine, who was an Israelite. Okay, so they started from Constantine, who was an Israelite, because a lot of the Jakes, they ruled during the tail end of the Western Roman Empire, and then the Eastern Roman Empire kept going by way of Constantine the Great, who was an Israelite, but he was a pagan who worshiped pagan idols. It says in 330 until the fall to the Ottomans, and then when you go back here, it says let me see, the one where it says the Renaissance, and we know that the Renaissance is when Esau came into power. Esau came into power during the Renaissance. Check this picture out right here. This picture right here. And what we're going to go into is about how Esau deceived the world by hiding the true images of the people in the Middle Ages, particularly the rulers. And you got these people right here. These are Jakes, man. The dark skin. And then you got Edomites. But again, the Middle Ages, you had Israelites ruling. I don't know if brothers can see that. It's kind of blurry on my phone. But you had Israelites ruling all throughout the Middle Ages. Israelites, all right? And the houses of nobles, okay, and high officership and rulership. Salakia. Hey, Shalom, Maki. How about you? Salakia about that. So you had Israelites in rulership, and this is what I kind of want to prove here by way of a book entitled The Secret Service, Memoirs of the Secret Service of John Mackey, Esquire. I got this book a long time ago from Elder Rakaya Plum from the UK. They brought out this book a lot, and showed, the truth of the rulership. So this book, I'm just looking for the cover. Salakia. And then I'm gonna read from Salakia. Just bear with me. So this is the book right here, the Memoirs of the Secret Service of John Mackey. And this man gave a detailed description. He gave a detailed description on the Israelites who were ruling at that time. And when you look at these people today, they're considered to be white people, because Esau took the narrative, took Jake out the picture. When you hear about the Moors, a lot of our people associated with just Islam, but you had Israelite rulership in Christendom, in Judaism, our people were ruling. So this says this is an artist of an unknown African head. And that's another thing too. This devil try to, every time you see a so-called black man, they want to call it an African head, African this, African that. But we're not African. We're the Israelites, man. And we're going to prove it. We're going to prove it in this book right here. In this book right here, Memoirs of the Secret Service of John Mackey, Esquire. All right. And you can get this. You don't have to buy the book. It's free. It's free online. So, you brothers want to go through it. I'm gonna see if I can try to post a link. If you brothers want to try to go through it, you might could read it and then and look the people up that you're reading. Let me see. Right. So I posted the link up. In the chat. I'm gonna see if it's in there, so you brothers can look it up. Yeah, I posted the link, so you can read through it yourselves, man. So let's get started. So this is King Charles. This is supposed to be King Charles II. All right, and we know that King Charles was King Charles I's son. King Charles I was King James' son. All right, the Jacobites. That's what they call themselves, Jacobites. And I wonder why they call themselves Jacobites, man. One, because King James' name, the name James goes back to Jacob. It's another surname for Jacob or Yaiquab. But that's because our people were Israelites, man. And to an extent, they understood and knew this. So just going to Esau's deception real quick. Let me finish back in Revelation 20 though. This is it's Revelation 20:2. And he laid hold on a dragon, that old serpent, which is a devil and Satan, and bound him 1,000 years. So Esau was bound for 1,000 years. All right, not like physical chains, but he was a no people on the earth. He was incapable of coming back in power until the Lord wanted to raise him up. Verse 3, and cast him into the bottomless pit. The bottomless pit is Europe, chiefly those Caucasus Mountains and other places where he was just isolated, and shut him up and set a seal upon him that he should deceive the nations no more, till the 1,000 years should be fulfilled. And after that, he must be loose a little season. And we're in that little season. And when verse 7, and when 1,000 years are expired, Satan shall be loose out of that prison. And we know that he got loose out of that prison during what? During the Middle Age period. After the Middle Age period, during the Renaissance period. During the Renaissance period, you saw more Edomite pictures of rulers and people that were in power, because this devil took it upon himself to iconoclast. First, he did it to Yahushua, the angels, the people, like pictures like this. A lot of these pictures came about during the Renaissance period. A lot of these pictures that you see of Renaissance art, okay, which was rife with iconoclasm. You see these pictures right here, and you think that these images were around for thousands of years, but they weren't. These images were recreated during the 15th century and onward, to replace the images of the people. So let's go start with Charles II. So this says Charles II, the art and power review, the original king of, they call him the original king of bling, because Jake is like that. Jake is gonna show his wealth off, man. It says the importance of art to the restoration is revealed in this tremendous show featuring some of Charles II's most treasured possessions. It says, this is the point right here. It says Charles II, 1630 to 85, 1685, otherwise known as the Merry Monarch, was a gargantuan baby. At 4 months, he already looked, his mother complained, like a 1-year-old. From the age of 12, he took part in the English Civil War battles and was described as a tall black man in parliamentary wanted posters. His appearance was anything but English. The dramatic height and darkness, most probably inherited from Danish and Italian grandmothers, was just a lie. Your mom, all your grandmothers ain't gonna add to your complexion, man. He looked like he looked like his father, which we're gonna prove that some more. But it told you right here, he was a tall black man. If King Charles was a tall black man, who the hell is this guy sitting on the throne? Who is this guy? See, it says a king who is out of this world, Charles II, circa 1676, by John Michael Wright. Right. So this is John Michael Wright. He created this picture, so-called, in 1676. But this is not what King Charles looked like. He was a black man. So how can you go from being a tall black man to a tall Edomite man with long curly rock and roll hair, man? How is this possible? When has the Edomite ever looked this good in splendor, man? Never. Look at the Queen of England now. She looks like shit. You know? She looks like shit. But Jake was rocking this forever. And again, it said this man was a tall black man. And why was he a tall black man? Because his father was a black man. So this is another iconoclast picture of Queen Elizabeth I. You know, during her life period, they like to wear heavy makeup, like a lot of that white powdered makeup on their faces, man. But she wasn't an Edomite. All right. Queen Elizabeth was not an Edomite. And we're going to show that right here. Queen Elizabeth I, a contemporary description. It says, from the below contemporary description of the queen, it is again possible to see that different people at different periods of the queen's life saw the queen differently. It is very much the case of beauty is in the eyes of the beholder, and how we see someone physically depends large on extent on our feelings for that person. So if you feeling good about a person, you're gonna paint them white. If you're feeling bad about a person, you're gonna paint them black. That's not how that works, man. You're supposed to give a outright description of people, you know. And if a person is black, so-called black, then that person is always going to be that. But Esau, he deceived the world. He wants the world to believe that all the all the rulerships of the world, all the great kings of the world were Edomite people, or Edomite-looking people, and they weren't. It says right here. This is from the Venetian ambassador Giovanni Michael, 1557. Her face is comely rather than handsome, and comely is beautiful, but she is tall and well formed, with good skin. Though swarthy, she has fine eyes. Now, when you look up the term swarthy in a dictionary, it says this: swarthy, dark skin. Dark skin. She looked frail, standing next to her strong and swarthy brother. Dark skin, dark complexion. All right? And you Edomites don't have dark skin. You Edomites don't have dark complexion. All right? But you went around the world and you deceived the nations to believe that, again, especially during the Middle Ages. That's why they don't really make a lot of Middle Age movies. And when they do, they put Edomites in the starring roles. Again, that's part of their deception. So then when you put a Jake in a role that literally this person was a Jake in the past, people get upset because they want you to believe that the so-called Negro, especially here in America and abroad, were nothing more than slaves. Your history started in Africa. It ended in Africa, slavery, that dirty ass continent called Africa. You were there. That's all you were. That's all you were. And that's a lie. That's a lie. Okay, the earth is full of dark-skinned people, man. People of brown hue and color. Even her name, she was part of the Tuador and the Stewarts, man, line. And the Stewart goes back to the goes back to the German Schwarz. And Schwarz means black. Goes to the word swarthy. That's where you get the term swarthy from. But does this person look dark-skinned to you? Or swarthy? No. No. And then they try to change it around. Sir John Hayward, slender, straight hair. Listen to this. Let me read up here. It says, let me keep reading up here. It says Sir James Mansfield memoirs describe the young queen's hair more reddish than yellow and curled in appearance naturally. And it says short and ruddy in complexion. We know that ruddy is brown skin, like reddish brown, not Edomite complexion. Very strongly built, 1596. Francesco Grandingo, Grading, Gradinigo. Anyway, Paul Hetzner, German visitor to Greenwich in the palace of 1598. Her face oblong, fair, but wrinkled. Her eyes small, yet black, pleasant. Her nose a little hooked, her lips narrow, and her teeth black. Her hair was an auburn color, but false. Upon her head, she had a small crown. Her bosom was uncovered, as all English ladies have till they marry. Her hands were slender, her fingers rather long, and her stature neither tall nor low. Her air was stately in manner of speaking, mild and obliging. Tall of stature. What else? Yeah, and these is just a couple of descriptions, but the first one was the best one because it told you that she was swarthy. All right. So then you have, let me go back to Revelation real quick. This is the book of Revelation, chapter 20, verse 7. And when 1,000 years are expired, Satan shall be loosed out of prison, right? That Renaissance period and onward, all right? And shall go out to deceive the nations. And how does Esau deceive the nations? By his literature, by his art, by his entertainment, by many ways. His lies. Esau, he deceived the many nations, man, which are in the four corners of the earth. And Gog and Magog to gather them together to battle, the number of whom is as the sand of the sea, which we're coming to that. We're coming to that great battle. And the ones who are as the sand of the sea are the Israelites, man. Okay. But the point in there is that this man used deception to lie to the world. All his Renaissance art. Jake don't know. Our people don't know. Our people don't know. They don't even look. They don't even care to know about history. You got all these museums, and Esau got the truth right in your face, but Jake won't know, and Jake won't look. The furthest a nigga will go back to is Africa, and then they got this love with this love and this romantic love for Egypt, as if that was the only high rulership of a people of dark color, and it wasn't at all. In fact, we were slaves in Egypt, just like we're slaves in this Egypt. So this book, the modern, the memoirs of the Secret Service of John Mackey, this is off of page 36. This is about Charles Lennox, Duke of Richmond. He was a son of King Charles. It says, let me see if I can, brothers can see this. Let me know if y'all can see this, if you can see the writing. Let me know if it's clear enough for you to see. I know it gets a little blurry. Kiakim on the comment board, can you see what I'm seeing? Let me see. Yeah, I can see it. So it says right here, King Charles Lennox, Duke of Richmond, is son to King Charles II. Right here, this is King Charles II. This is supposed to be King Charles II. But we know King Charles II is black, and we're gonna prove it again. Is the son of King Charles II by the Duchess of Portsmouth. He was carried by his mother into France in the reign of King James and left France in the reign of King William. That's King William of Orange. When he declared himself for the religion and constitution of his country, he is a gentleman. Good natured to a fault, very well bred, and have many valuable things in him. Is the enemy to the business, very credulous, well shaped, black complexion, much like King Charles, not 30 years old. Black complexion, not black curly hair and big lips. No, black complexion. And this book is a true description that John Mackey he gave during the reign of King William of Orange and Queen Anne and King George I. All right, in 1773, this man, he was amongst these people. He was amongst these people. This is Charles. This is supposed to be Charles the Slovakia. Charles of Lennox, first Duke of Richmond. This is supposed to be him. This man ain't no black complexion. You can't confuse an Edomite with black complexion. How? How is this? This man got a wig on. We don't know who this guy is, man. This guy got a wig on, and they painted him. They painted his head on a body with some royal regalia, and said that this is him, and it's not. Said this man was a dark complexion, black complexion. Charles Lennox, first Duke of Richmond, first Duke of Lennox, of the Goodwood House near Cheshire in Sussex, was the youngest of 7 illegitimate sons of King Charles II, and was the king's only son by his French-born mistress, Louise de something, Duchess of Portsmouth. He was appointed hereditary constable of Inverness and Inverness Castle, man. You see, but yet they say that this is the King. No, you lying, and we proved it right here. Jakes didn't make this book up. We didn't create. Well, Jake wrote the book because he was there. But we here in this contemporary era, we didn't write this book. We didn't make this up. But Esau, that's what he does. Nigga's a liar. He's a liar. He and the father of it, man. You know, this is Isaiah chapter 25, verse 7. And it says, and he will destroy in this mountain the face of the covering cast over all people, and the veil that is spread over all nations. Right, because here in America, that covering cast is being destroyed. That's over the people. Okay? Black, Latino, Native American, Seminole Indian. Those are covering casts that were placed on our people. All right, by our captors, namely Esau, Edom. All right. So that word for covering cast, covering, the Hebrew word there is lawat, and it says covering an envelope. So to call somebody an African, Israelite and African, that's a covering. That's a proverb, and it's a byword, because just because you dark skinned don't make you an African. Just because you live in Africa don't make you an African. You got Israelites scattered amongst the Hamites, man. And to be African, you got to go back to Leo Scipio Africanus, man, who that continent was named after. He destroyed the Carthaginian army. All right. So that's a covering cast over all people. So the word for cast in the Hebrew is lawat, and it says to wrap closely, to enwrap, to envelop. So instead of calling you an Israelite, instead of calling you from the 12 tribe, one of the 12 tribes of Israel, they'll call you black or Latino or Native American. And they'll associate you with a people that's just oppressed, slavery, destruction, murder, death, kill, all of that. But they will never associate you with the kings of old. All right? Because if Charles Lennox Duke was a black man, his father was black. Hey, King James was black. King James was a so-called black man. He wasn't white, but he was iconoclast too. He went from looking like a so-called black man, you know, even here he was black. This is a black man. And they don't want to give him credit for being a black man. But then they'll make him look like this. This is accepted across the world. But every time you read a description, he was a so-called black man. His children, so-called black men. And a lot of this history was hidden from amongst us, man. A lot of people in a middle, the vast majority of the people in the Middle Ages that were of notable people were people of color, so-called black people, man. You can't make this stuff up. Jacobius, it says, Hibernia Rex Jacobius, the sixth, DG Magna of Britannia in France, man. That's King James. Look, my man got his hat cocked to the side and everything, man. Edomites don't look like this, man. Edomites don't look like this, man. Come on, man. It's the same guy. Okay? But they covered the faces of the judges. Let's get it. Job, Job 9:24. Job 9:24. The earth is given to the hand of the wicked. He covered the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he? And the main judges that he covered were of Yahushai, the angels, the heavenly Father. Okay, the people of the Lord, the Israelites. We're the judges of the earth. And if not, where then who is he? Because no other nation did this. No other nation put themselves up as the image of our Lord and Savior Yahushai, or try to erase us out of history. The Edomites did. And they took over these houses of rulership. They took over these houses when we fell out of power, or replaced them with their family names, man. The Queen of England, she don't go back to our people. I think her father goes back to Queen Victoria, but Queen Victoria married an Edomite German. Queen Victoria was the last of the Israelites to rule, man. They sit on the throne. All right, and she looked like a so-called white woman, but she was an Israelite, man. I got some more, so let's go through this book. Another guy. This is because even when they use fair complexion, that doesn't mean that the person was white. So George Fitzroy, Duke of Northumberland, I'll go straight to the point. He's a man of honor, nice in paying his debts and living well with his neighbors in the country. Does not much care for the conversation of men of quality or business. Is a tall black man like his father, king about 40 years. Let's go look him up. George Fitzroy, Duke of Northumberland. George Fitzroy of Northumberland. Right? Let me see. Duke of Northumberland. Right. So this is supposed to be him, right? George Fitzroy, first Duke of Northumberland. Right here is the Lieutenant General George Fitzroy, the first Duke of Northumberland, was the third and youngest son of King Charles II. So he was black. But yet, this is the image that you see. Come on, man. And this is just a random image. You don't know who this person is. You don't know who this person is. Also known by the Barbara Villas, Duchess of Cleveland. He was the fifth of the Charles' 8 illegitimate sons. And they weren't illegitimate, man. But they claim that when you married or you dealt with a woman of lesser stature, man, then the kid would be so-called illegitimate. But he wasn't illegitimate, man. And he was a so-called black man. We reading it right here. He's a man of honor, nice in paying his debts, living well with his neighbors, and a country does not much care for the conversation of men of quality or business. It says, is a tall black man, like his father, King who? King Charles II. And he was 40 years old. You see? But that Renaissance, man, that Renaissance period did a number on our people. Then you got something called the Jacobites. This comes from the war that was fought. It was called what was it called? The Great Revolution, which you had two families fighting each other. King James' family unfolded on itself, man, after he passed away. It says the Jacobites, a memorial stone on the Colden Moor calls the Jacobite soldiers who died fighting beside Bonnie Prince Charlie, the gallant Highlanders. It says the glorious revolution. It says a century of bloodshed began with a family feud. King James the Seventh, King James the Second in England would be the last Roman Catholic monarch in these islands. His downfall came at the hands of his daughter, Mary. And I used to have this website that actually talked about these people. And the way she died, they said it was because she was fighting her own father, man. And that's how Jake fell. A lot of Jake fell because what? Them houses got divided, man. That the downfall came at the hands of his daughter, Mary, and his son-in-law, a Dutch Protestant called William of Orange. And this is the time that we're reading about right here, during the time of John Mackey. All this was going on, the Great Revolution. All right? So there was basically a big civil war, man. Civil war was constant threat in Scotland and Ireland and England. Struggled to find a way to live and prosper together. By 1688, the division were so deep that King James VII of Scotland and the Second of England, a Catholic and a Stuart, had to flee to France. You see? And that, this is the kind of stuff that happens. You'll have a ruler, but then the children that come, the children that come after, these people were they weren't as wise and prudent. And Mary, the Second of England, she was a demon. She was a demon. I wish I had I wish I could find the bookmark. I used to have a bookmark about let me see if I can find it. Let me see if it's on this computer. King Charles, man. And then you can go into the rest of his family. They used to a lot of Jake be like, oh, we was kings and queens and all this other stuff, but not everybody was a king, and not every woman was a queen, man. But we had a lot of nobles, man. But we were taken out of power because Jake wasn't right, and it was just our time to go down, man. But now our time is coming up. What you're starting to see is a lot of the great people of the past of old, especially in the Bible, all of them were Israelites, man. Starting off with Yahushua, people of color, so-called black people, Latino and Native American people, man. Just bear with me, brothers. I'm looking to see if I have this old bookmark, but this is just a quick video just to show you how Esau covered up the faces of the rulers, man. All right. And put himself up in power, man. All right. Put himself up in power and tried to replace us, man. Like he always do. This is the book of First Maccabees 3:48. And laid open the books of the law, wherein the heathen had sought to paint their likeness of their images, man. And that's what they did. You had Antiochus, they put the statue of Jupiter, in there. They put their images up in there, and they try to replace our people, man. And because Esau has the power to govern the world, because the earth is given to his hands, what did he do? He took our land. He took our nationality. Hey, we're the biggest victims of identity theft. Identity theft, man. Because Esau not only took our identity, but he also took our land, our homeland. You know what I'm saying? This man took our land. All right? He took our land. He took our heritage. He took the scriptures. And he took it into himself, man. And tried to perpetrate a fraud, man. But the truth is out. As the scripture says right here, 2 Corinthians 13 and 8, for we can do nothing against the truth, but for the truth. That's right. And there's another scripture that says there's no lie of the truth, man. The truth always going to prevail. No matter how much you try to suppress it, no matter how much you try to ignore it, you can't rewrite history. You can't rewrite the truth. The truth is the truth. And everything you Edomites do, you forward the mission that Yahweh Bashim Shai has sent us down here to do. Because people are going to watch these videos and they're going to look up they're going to look this information up. Okay? And the spirit of the Lord is going to fall upon those Israelites that he chooses, man. All right? Yeah, I can't find the old image, the old page, but it talked about, certain Queen Mary and the wickedness that she perpetrated. So I'm not gonna hold brothers up. We got to get ready for the Passover. I hope that you brothers have a blessed Passover and that you take it seriously. Understand the reason why we're doing this, is in remembrance of Yahweh Bashim Shai delivering us from ancient Egypt, and understanding that he's going to deliver us from this current Egypt that we're in, man, the spiritual Egypt that we're in. All right. So this has been a quick lesson, what Esau didn't and won't tell you about in the history books. I hope you were edified. I want to give all praise and honor and glory to Yahweh, Bashim Yahweh Shai, Bashim Kakadash. Say double honors to the apostles and the elders at Great Millstone, teaching his word and teaching sincerity and for ruling well. I say salutation to my fellow Akim. He puts you striving. We're almost out of here. Hey, shalom.